All right, guys, what's up? We're here with a brand new video, doing a little bit of a reaction, maybe a little bit of commentary over San Jacinto battle, the last fight for Texas independence. A little bit about me. I am a history teacher. Although I don't consider myself a historian, I am a big time history enthusiast and a huge Texas history buff, right? So, The Day Tripper, this YouTube channel, fantastic. I'd always play it for my kiddos as a supplemental, visual aid when we're talking about something in particular, San Jacinto or like, Goliad, Alamo, whatever it may be. They're fantastic. I'm a fan of them outside of their educational purposes. I mean, I just think their editing, the videography, I mean, you name it, they got it. Not to mention the commentary. These guys are fantastic. So I'll quit yapping. Let's go ahead and watch together.
San Jacinto Battleground, the place where Texas indisputably became Texas, independent and sovereign, now marked by the tallest monument in America. And what better place to start our exploration than up at the top?
Whew, look at that view. We're hundreds.
He did mention that it's the tallest monument in all of America. Isn't that crazy? Taller than the Washington Monument. Texas, baby. Texas, man.
Hundreds of feet above the San Jacinto Battlefield, which gives you the best perspective of the final battle of the Texas Revolution.
So that little battleship probably won't be there if you happen to go. If I'm not mistaken, I read an article about it recently talking about that it was being like, maintenance, refitting. Well, not refitting armaments necessarily, but, taking care of it because it was a lot of corrosion.
Been a hard
Double check me,
months
though.
for the
It may be there
Texans.
by the time you go there.
Since
If
the
you ever go,
first
I
shots were
suggest you do.
fired in Gonzales, the Texans had declared independence at Washington on the Brazos and suffered terrible losses at both the Alamo and Goliad. The power.
All right, guys. I know you're probably saying, stop pausing it, bro. But let me set the scene for you, okay? So if you want to know, if you want to talk about Texas history, you got to know the four major battles. All right, Gonzales, the first one, where the famous "come and take it" flag is from, right? Essentially, Mexican troops were ordered to go ahead and disarm the militia there at Gonzales. The Texans had, obviously, weaponry, but they had a cannon in particular, left there by the Spanish government during Spanish colonial period. They wouldn't get it. They wouldn't give it up, right? Come and take it. The flag. They made the flag. They hoisted it up, and boom, here goes Texas Revolution. Sound similar? Any y'all fans of American Revolution or read about it or your time in high school or college? Yeah, very similar, right? Something about disarming a militia, maybe not a good idea. History does not repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. Then you have San Antonio, right? The Battle of Alamo, 13-day siege, a massacre, right? William B. Travis, victory or death, baller speech, and then, or baller letter, rather. And then Massacre at Goliad, which is super, super tragic and sad. I want to do a video on that. Day Tripper has a video on it. I'll probably talk over that. And then San Jacinto, which is this video is entirely about. But again, I know I'm yapping. This goes back, let's just say 1821. Mexico wins their independence. Fredonian Rebellion happens. I won't get too deep into that. General Tananis is ordered to go ahead and take a comprehensive report of what's going on in Coahuila y Texas, right? I butchered that pronunciation. I'm not a native Spanish speaker. Essentially, Taran says, hey, we got an issue. The Anglo-American settlers are outnumbering the Janos, or native Texas Mexicans, 10-1. Okay. Cultural differences, whatever it may, language barrier, whatever it may be, these are all issues according to the Mexican government. And obviously, I mean, hindsight's 2020, they were right. He essentially says, hey, we don't do something, we can kiss Texas goodbye forever. So during this time, there's something called empresarios, which essentially like Texas real estate agents, right? Hey, the Mexican government noticed that it was sparsely populated, the state of Texas, Coahuila y Texas. I'm gonna butcher that pronunciation. I'll video, just get used to it. And they bring Texas settlers here. Obviously, a lot of them from the South. They have slaves, really unfortunately, obviously. And Mexico outlaws slavery in 1829. They're a little loose with that rule with the Texans, but in 1830, April 6, 1830, they try to put their foot down and gain complete control of Texas once again. They said, hey, too much rebellious sentiments going on. Let's go and figure it out. Essentially, they outlaw immigration from the United States. They outlaw the import of enslaved peoples. They, if I'm not mistaken, wage or levy taxes and even garrison some parts of Texas. Okay. Several events happen. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. Essentially, the Turtle Bayou resolution is next in the linear timeline, I guess. They have a little scuffle. They squash the beef. They think Santa Anna is going to be good for Texas, and they have Texas interests, and he has Texas interest in his mind. Spoiler alert: he doesn't, obviously. And then Texas goes ahead and reaffirms their loyalty. Shortly thereafter, Texas gets the bright idea to go ahead and maybe find a happy middle ground, a happy medium. They sent Stephen F. Austin to go ahead and negotiate on the behalf of all Texas to potentially secede from Coahuila, y Texas, and become just Texas, but part of Mexico. Still part of Mexico, just their own separate state. Stephen F. Austin goes to Mexico City for an audience with Santa Anna and the Mexican government. It doesn't go very well, okay? Essentially, he's sitting there waiting, and Mexico is going through a rebellion. They're going through a cholera outbreak, if I'm not mistaken, like an epidemic, and they can't see Stephen F. Austin. He gets restless. He sends a letter back to the boys in Texas, the lads in Texas. Hey, go through with it. I'm sure he'll be fine. Letter gets intercepted. Mexican government reads it, throws his butt in jail for a whole year. Stephen F. Austin goes back home. Gonzalez. Loose timeline. You want to do more research? You want me to talk about? I could talk about all day. Let's watch the video. My bad.
Powerful Mexican army now marched across Texas, sending settlers running in fear and burning their possessions in what's now known as the Runaway Scrape. However, instead of running to safety in Louisiana, Houston turned his army south to face Santa Anna head-on at San Jacinto. Today, visitors see a battleship, a monument, and a state park. But of course, in April of 1836, none of it was there. The Texian army, numbering 900 men, camped west near Buffalo Bayou. Across the field, less than a mile away, camped the Mexican army, believing they had the Texans cornered. On April 20th, a small skirmish left 2 Texans wounded. And that same evening, 500 additional soldiers under General Cos joined the Mexican camp. Santa Anna, confident the Texans would never strike his superior numbers, put no soldiers on watch. It would be his fatal mistake.
Santa Anna was so confident in himself because, if I'm not mistaken, double check the numbers. They kind of vary, obviously, 1800s in Texas. He had up to 6,000 troops against Sam Houston's about 1,000, maybe, roughly. Numbers vary. And by this point, it was relatively even. I believe the Texans had maybe 900. Maybe this video correct me. I'm not too entirely sure. The numbers vary. And then the Mexicans had 1,200. But I think a general coast reinforces Santa Anna, if I'm not mistaken. But Sam Houston has been withdrawing, tactical retreat. He even had told William B. Travis and Goliad, retreat, bro. Come meet me. Let's reconsolidate. Let's fight when the time's right. And the time is right. Santa Anna split up his forces through garrisoning, through a rotating of troops, maybe, but primarily because they were just covering so much land that a big army can't keep up with a little army, right? Obviously.
At 3:30 in the afternoon on April 21st, obscured by trees and a small hill, the Texian army assembled. With rifles ready, they charged. The unexpected onslaught sent the Mexican army into a panic. The next few minutes were a storm of rifle fire and hand-to-hand combat as Texans overwhelmed the Mexican side, shouting, "Remember the Alamo," and "Remember Goliad." In a mere 18 minutes, the battle was over.
18 minutes, guys.
630 Mexicans lay dead, and only 9 Texans. One of the most decisive victories in military
That's a crazy
history.
KDA.
One battle ended a revolution that had been boiling for years.
Texas Army was cracked.
People struggling for their independence finally had it. The grounds are covered with markers and stones fixed at locations.
It's a beautiful place, guys. You got to
critical
check
the
it out.
battle. You'll find the location of the Texan camp,
Especially if you're a Texan
where
living in
Houston
Houston.
and his men awaited Santa Anna's arrival and planned their final attack. Now, Santa Anna himself was captured in the marsh, masquerading as an ordinary soldier. He was brought back
bit
to
of
the
a coward
Texan
move,
camp
no?
for one of the most famous
I know what I would
scenes
do,
in
to be
Texas
fair.
history.
So this stone engraving marks the spot where President Santa Anna surrendered to General Sam Houston, putting the final stamp on Texas's independence. Makes you feel very proud standing here.
So Sam Houston is actually super calculated. You talk about his military strategy in terms of withdrawing, tactical retreat, decisive battle, that crazy KDA. Sam Houston's men wanted Santa Anna's head. They wanted it, right? Alamo, Goliad, those massacres. Goliad more than anything else, I suppose. Alamo's more, back and forth to a certain degree, kind of. The men wanted Santa Anna dead. Sam Houston said, no, guys. And that's that famous scene, right, from the movie The Alamo. He says, I don't want to kill Santa Anna, I want Texas, right, essentially. I don't know if he actually said that, but that's the same concept. He forced Santa Anna to sign Texas over to the Texas men and end the Texas Revolution.
Now you can get excited about the battlefield around the monument, but don't get so excited that you miss what's inside the monument itself.
Museum's
it's
awesome.
One of the best museums in Texas, and this is its president, Larry Spozik.
We have at least 16,000 artifacts, and at any one time, we might have 0.3% of those artifacts out. So, of course, we do a lot of rotating. We want new things out for people
Talk
to
about
see when
archive,
they come
right?
back.
Here,
We have a
Frontline
ring
Archives.
that Sam Houston's mother gave him when he was a small child. She had one word inscribed on the inside of that ring, and that word was honor. She also gave him a musket and reminded him that while the door to her cottage was always open to brave men, it was eternally shut to cowards.
Wow. And that right there alone tells me why a man like him was willing to lead the charge into the Mexican camp here.
Isn't that insane? Sam Houston's mom told him that her door was always open to brave men, but eternally shut to cowards. Could you imagine that? Not even my young, but men in particular, or even the women here, if I happen to have any women viewers. Your mother telling you that if you're a coward, you can never come home. That's hardcore, man. That's no joke.
Yes.
From Aztecs to World War II, this museum has so much to see that you could literally come back 100 times. The tales of heroes forever engraved in Texas history, famous battles known throughout the world, and a nation born of struggle, but now blessed beyond measure.
Amen. All right, so this YouTube channel, check it out 100%. I'm not familiar with this man, Chet Garner. I'm assuming that's the gentleman that was commentating over this. Man, I could talk all day about Texas history, and if you're interested in something like that, please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff. And we'll go ahead and kick it off next time, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to go and check this out. All my Texas history fans, all my history fans in general, do it, bro. Do it, man. Help me grow. It's on y'all. It's on me too. But I appreciate your support. All right, guys. Till next time. Peace out.